Yep, we're rolling.
Okay, so I've been thinking about this for a while now and wanted to post a video, but it's been in my mind. So when I've gone to some local tracks, I've seen some riders, a lot of riders, pretty much everybody. And then when I watch the supercross, I see kind of the bottom of the field a little bit doing this. And it's same with the top guys. But you won't see Eli, you won't see Anderson, you won't see Mookie, Webb, you won't see the Lawrences or Christian Craig do this. And I've explained this before, but there's two things that you don't want to do when standing and sitting on a motorcycle when riding that can cause a lot of problems, okay? So we'll start off when we're sitting. You've heard me many times talk about tucking my butt. So when a lot of people come out of the corner, they do this. And you've heard me talk about, excuse me, that from your hips to your feet, or for the rear end of the motorcycle, from your hips to your head, or for the front end of the motorcycle. Or if I tuck my butt, my lower body's going to go away from the back end, my upper body's going to go away from the front end. If I give this motorcycle gas, it's going forward, so I'm always going to be in a constant pull. That'll cause you to get more arm pump, that'll cause you to be affected by the rear end of the motorcycle, that'll cause you to take traction away from the motorcycle and use more energy. But one of the biggest things I see is when riders are standing, and this is even at the top. When someone's standing, even with their hips out, if the first thing they do is bend their knees, look where my body weight's going. If I'm here and my knees bend, I'm going into my arms. If I go into my arms, then I'm on a constant pull or a constant push if I'm compressing from something in between jumps. And I see this in the supercross is guys will bend at their knees first, and when they do this, they're in the bike. Even though their hips might be out, they're in the bike. So if the bike goes in between a rhythm section and there's a rut and it causes them to go off sideways, now they're more affected because they're more locked up, they're more into their arms, more into the front of the motorcycle and not able to flow with the motorcycle. And even when you clip a jump, and if I come in like this, the first little thing I do is this to prepare. Well, now I'm going to get kicked off that jump even just a little bit. And if you see the top guys, they don't lose speed when they clip jumps at all because of where their body position is. And these top guys, when they get in between rhythm sections and get a little sideways, they don't have the problem. And the biggest thing also is in the whoops. When someone's going through the whoops and the first thing they do is do this, knees bend first, knees bend first. Well, now all my weight's into the front of the motorcycle. So if that motorcycle gets kicked, well, now I'm in the front of it. So then I hit the next one, and that causes me to go over the bars or causes a big huck-a-buck. So you see the top guys, when they're here, they bend at the hips. They bend at the hips. So everything's away from my arms. My arms can still be loose. My weight's going into my legs. My weight's going into the rear wheel. And I'm standing up more tall. So if the bike does something, I can move with it more. And again, in the whoops, when that bike hits the first whoop and my hips go out, well, I'm going to be working with the motorcycle and not coming into my arms. So when that motorcycle hits the next whoop, I'm allowing it to come to me. Hit the next whoop, my hips come out. The next whoop, my arms come to me. The whoop, hips, arms. And if you saw the video from Anderson this weekend, you saw how loose his arms were. His arms were moving all over the place. And the only way to do that is by bending at the hips, initiating your direction at the hips and not at the knees. You do it at the knees and it goes into your arms and you're in a constant pushback, a constant pullback, or you're more affected by what this motorcycle does when you're not expecting it, hitting a rut and going sideways or going into the whoops. You start to bring your weight, excuse me, into the front of the motorcycle when you're already starting to do this. Where you see those guys drop a front wheel and they get back so then they can stretch over the motorcycle and not come into the motorcycle. So, saying that, pretty much everybody at the amateur tracks do that, and a lot of the top pros do that except the very, very top. And that's why, to me, those guys have a little bit more flow, a little bit more speed, and a little bit more, I guess, efficiency when things go wrong. Even though they might be better than the rest, there's one part of it that you need to look at and not do your first initial movement at your knees. Your first initial movement needs to be at your hips. As you see, everything this way is going the way I said. Hips to feet, rear end of the motorcycle, hips to head, front of the motorcycle, not this way, even though my hips are out. Okay? So look at that when you ride. Look at some videos that you have. Look at some pictures and see if that is some of your problem, that your first movement when going into braking, going into a jump, landing from a jump, going into a rough section, any place that you're going into that's causing the bike to be unsettled or do something different, and you move at the knees, you're going to be limited and you're going to be more affected by the motorcycle, and I think your speed will go down and more mistakes will happen instead of coming with your hips. Because if I jumped off this motorcycle right now, that's how I land. I don't land like this. That doesn't work. That's not natural. This way is natural. So something to look at, something to improve your riding, and I hope it helps.